Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Bowl TV. My name is Matt Canizaro, and it is showtime at Samstown. It is the cashier's round of the 2021 Super Senior Classic. We've got 40 of the best USBC members age 60 and older now vying for 12 spots in match play. They'll bowl 6 games this morning. That'll add to their 12-game totals from the last 2 days of qualifying. And those 18-game pinfall totals will determine, again, the 12 advancing to the unique Jason Thomas-inspired group match play and eventual group stepladder format. We'll talk about that as things unfold. In just a minute, we'll meet all of our players. Again, 40 from a field of about 160 after 12 games of qualifying, so it's getting down to it. It's going to be exciting. 6 games right now, total pinfall, and then match play coming up this afternoon. Looking forward to it. We've got so many of these lanes covered. You can watch your favorite pros as they cross the house. But enough looking at me. It's time to watch some bowling. Talk with Jason Thomas.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome back, JT.
I'll mute my mic again. That's the third day in a row I've made that mistake.
Well, I mean, consistency is important, right? So when we get to the next round, and we'll make some tweaks, and we'll get ready to combat this.
Maybe by the end of the Senior Masters, I'll have it figured out how to work this thing.
We'll get the hang of it. We always do.
Well, we've got a number of left-handers. We've got kind of the middle of the pack for you here right out of the gate on the main channel. As Matt mentioned, we do have the full field available to watch. So you can watch any player in the field. The entire 40 players in the cashier's round here this morning are covered here on Bowl TV, and we will be covering the entirety of the event for the rest of the tournament. So you can watch anybody you like, but right in front of us, we've got some folks from the middle of the pack who are looking to make it into the top 12. And we'll go ahead and go full screen and run through some of the standings. Hugh Miller did end up leading the tournament yesterday. He's number 1 going into this cashier's round at plus 309. Glenn Smith in second at plus 297. Amleto Monacelli is in third at plus 277. Ed Silva in fourth at plus 232. Walter Ray Williams Jr. had a nice block yesterday to get to plus 215. He rounds out the top 5. Then we've got Mike Warren, Ken Gibson, Widmar Vargas, Charles Moore, and Butch Warren. And Matt did a great story on the Warren brothers. Those 2 guys, brothers of Chris Warren, who's here this week, and helping his brothers. They're having a great week, man. Pretty cool story. Chris obviously going to be here for the USBC Senior Masters, which gets underway Monday. So good stories there. The number that they're looking at for the top 12, there's currently 2 guys tied for that, one of which we have right in front of us here in game 1. Mike Diaz, he is at plus 170. Noel Vasquez, who is part of the group we have in front of us as well, is right behind him at plus 168. Daniel Miyamoto and Paul McCordick at plus 167 and plus 147, respectively. But 12th is where they're trying to all get to today. 40th place, we did have a roll-off last night for that last spot in the finals. It was an exciting match between Kevin Foley and Gregory Turner. And Kevin Foley came out on top to get the last spot. He's at plus 151. So a little bit of work for him to do today in the 6 games to try to get himself into the top 12 for match play later today, which will start at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Roger in the chat asking to explain the format for today. That's a good question. So we will bowl 6 games this morning, and the top 12 after those 6 games will make the match play. Now, the way the match play works is that the odd numbered seeds, so 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11, will go into one group, and 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 will go into another group. Now, those 6 players will bowl round robin traditional match play with bonus pins. Something we've seen in many events in the past, traditional on the PBA Tour for a long time. The U.S. Open uses that format. But 30 bonus pins for a match win. And at the end of those 6 games, all pins carry over from all the qualifying. So pins are cumulative. But at the end of the group match play, the number 1 pinfall earner on each group will automatically qualify for the stepladder finals. And they will be the number 1 and 2 seeds. And then the next 3 in each group, the next 3 players, 2, 3, 4, will qualify for the group stepladder finals. And all of those will take place tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So we will have 2 group stepladder finals, 3 players on each side, so a semifinal and a final match. The winners of those group stepladder finals will advance to the stepladder finals at 11 a.m. Pacific time as the numbers 3 and 4 seeds. So that's how the format works. John, yes, all lanes are being covered. So if you have anybody that you want to watch and maybe you don't want to listen to Matt and I, which I can completely identify with, you can certainly switch the channel over and watch your favorite player.
I'll tell you what, JT, when you first unveiled this group match play, group stepladder situation, it took a minute, and then it clicked, and I think it's pretty neat because we'll get down to it. We'll have 12 players, and all 12, I feel, will have a really solid chance of winning the event, or at least being among the 8 who go to one of the step ladders, right? So all you have to do against the best bowlers in the world is get into the top 4 in your category out of 6, really. And so it's maybe it sounds simpler than it is, but the fact that 8 of the 12 bowlers who advance will have a chance is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is, like you said, a unique format. It does give players the feeling that you have more chances to going on in the tournament if you can just make it to the next round. But just like anything, there's only one player that's going to win this week, so never easy to win, no matter what the format is against players of this caliber.
Well, I think the original intention was also to keep it exciting for the fans, right? Because with just 6 players and 4 of them advancing, there's a lot of leapfrogging and a lot of potential and possibilities. So, like, every match is pretty exciting. Nobody's hundreds of pins out necessarily, and just kind of just bowling the games because they qualified. But like,
it was designed. The format was designed when the PWBA Tour went to taped TV finals, and we needed to have an exciting way to end the tournament in the host center before we moved on a couple weeks later to shoot the stepladder finals in a completely different city. And so this was the format we came up with for that. But it did have some of those elements of, giving players more chances to make it to the show. And so when the PWBA went to live television shows a couple of years back, there was no longer a need for the format because tournaments would now end in the host center with the stepladder finals, either on Bowl TV or on television. So we went away from the format, but the Super Senior Classic was kind of looking for something a little different to shake up the format, and they put this one in place, and it's been very popular with the players. Brian McLean mentioning, hey, if you run 2 tabs, you can actually listen to Matt and Jason talk gibberish while watching.
Wait, hold on. Does it say that? Does it say
No, it doesn't. Brian does not accuse us of talking gibberish. That was just me.
Okay.
Putting words in. But he happens to be watching Walter Ray and Ron Moore, which is an excellent choice.
Looking up and down the concourse here, it's hard to go wrong. Certainly, if you're a fan of the PBA tour in the 80s and 90s, this is a place for you right now. If you like lefties, this is a spot. If you like righties, this is it.
Yeah, we're getting kind of a look at everything here on 19 and 20 and 21 and 22. We've got Noel Vasquez, who wasn't super comfortable on the press yesterday. He got all of his pins late. So he's going to try to figure out a little different strategy here this morning. Mike Diaz made a nice move yesterday. Former champion of this event. Left-hander, obviously. Gary Morgan, we watched him bowl yesterday. He was making a nice run up the leaderboard when we watched him, and ends up making the finals and off to a good start here this morning with 3-bagger, 9 spare. Daryl Bauer off to a quick start with the front 3, now the front 4. Ron Boroff from our neck of the woods. Got 4 straight spares if he makes this 7-pin. And we watched Daniel Miyamoto yesterday, and he's off to a little bit of a rough start with 2 opens in his first 3 frames. Paul McCordick about to get up. He's another left-hander, brother of Pete, who's also in the field today. Kind of interesting. Twin brothers, and one's a righty, one's a lefty. How did that happen? I don't know enough about...
I feel like they tried to explain it one time, and I think it's a thing, like mirror twins, or like I might have just made that up too, but it sounds familiar and sellable.
Yeah. I was briefly a biology major at UCLA when I started my college career, but after a year of it, I got out of it. So I don't remember exactly. I know there were, you got an answer?
Well, I mean, there's answers at our fingertips, of course, and essentially that's it, right? Defining characteristics, dominant hands, or other features on opposite sides, mirror twins.
Okay. So interesting. Biology is such an interesting field. That's why I switched majors after my first year at UCLA.
Well, but you've got the science of live streaming down nearly flawless so far today.
Yeah. Well, it's been pretty good, other than not turning off my my mic at the beginning of the show, which I've done 3 days in a row now. But back to the bowling. Get a little bit of a standings update on the players who were watching in front of us. As I mentioned, Noel Vasquez just outside the top 12 going into the day, plus 168. Mike Diaz is the number, plus 170. Sam Carter is on 19 and 20 as well. And he is currently in 27th place at plus 92. So 78 pins out of the cut currently. On 21 and 22, Daniel Miyamoto he's in 15th place, so just 3 pins out of the number at plus 167 to start the day. Daryl Bauer plus 102 to start the day, so 68 pins back of the number. Ron Boroff plus 105. Paul McCordick is a little bit ahead of his brother. Pete is currently at plus 119, and Paul at plus 147. So Paul just 23 pins back of the top 12.
Back to the day, JT. Well, okay, there's probably gonna be a lot of facts throughout the day, but
yeah, first fact of the day.
Back to the OG, the inaugural at the time ITRC Super Senior Classic at the ITRC in Arlington, Texas. Pete and Paul McCordick, it might have been their birthday when the event started. So they got in just at the minute under the wire of being 60 for this event. They both went on to the step ladder finals, and they met in the second match. Pete came out ahead 235 197. Pete then defeated Don Blatchford in the semifinal and fell to Kerry Painter in the first title match 197 179. So Pete McCordick beat up on his brother in the step ladder. I don't remember which one is older, but that was that. So Kerry Painter winning that event over Pete McCordick. And they've both been in the spotlight at this event and the Senior Masters pretty regularly. So pretty neat. But that event has grown. This event has grown from there was about 28 entries that year to almost 300 in 2019, and now about 160 in what, of course, has been a unique and challenging 2021. But we're here.
Yeah, no, it's amazing how, I mean, you think about that ITRC, and you know, it's a great facility, but it's only got really 14 lanes for a tournament. And you know, the fact that they had to move it out of there because it's blown up in terms of entries is pretty cool, pretty amazing.
Well, I think we also take for granted a little bit that in our organization, our sport, so many of our events have decades and decades of history that we kind of just walked into, right? The Open Championships since 1901, the Masters since 1951, you know, the Queens and the Women's Champion, all the things that we do regularly have such history. We often don't get to see the start of the event. And Greg Moore put it in perspective this week at what an investment of time and resources the Super Senior Classic was. But it wasn't just let's run it and see what happens. Like there was strategy involved in after that first year, and how do we grow this event? What do we need to do from when in the year it needs to happen to where it needs to happen? It moved around a little bit. It was at the ITRC. Went to Green Bay. We had a huge series of bowling situation where all of our events were held there in 1 year at different times, which originally was supposed to all be in a row, just the tournament season. And so that was adjusted a little bit. And then we came here in 2016 and timed it with the Brentwood PBA 50 stop in California, then the Senior Masters, and then the Senior U.S. Open. And it was just an opportunity just to be part of this swing for these senior players. And that is where the growth happened. And it's been awesome. But it was an investment of 4 or 5 years. And Greg put in that perspective that you have to do that. You have to give it a chance to grow. And even going from 20 or 30 entries to 40 percentage wise, that's a significant growth.
Yeah.
And if you can grow by that amount regularly, then you're in really good shape.
Yeah. Greg, one of the things we do at the campus is we do business plan presentations in front of the entire company. And the first year that I worked for USBC, he gave his presentation and he was talking about the Super Senior Classic among many of the other things that he's in charge of. And he said, yeah, the Super Senior Classic had 72% growth in entries year over year, and it was something like 33 to 42 entries. And Chad Murphy, in a private meeting afterwards, said, "Boy, that was some spin there." Right? And we all kind of laughed, but I mean, this thing has blown up. I mean, like you said, almost 300 entries last time we conducted the event. That's tenfold growth. That's not spin. That's just real growth, right? But again, it just shows why it's important to think through all those things, where it is on the calendar, where it is in proximity to other events, and certainly there's a lot of demand in this age group for tournaments like this.
Well, they've even now added an over 70 cash. If you're over 70 and you don't make the cut, some variation of that where you still get a little bit of prize money, so there's some incentive, and there's incentives for bowling both events during this trip. You get a price break, and so all these different things. And again, looking at the bigger picture is not something that I personally uh, have done. I guess. I mean, my main event, I joined in the 102nd edition, so it's all was pretty well established at that point, and I was very focused on the coverage plan for today and for the week and for the month, and not looking at the 5 year outlook, which is something that Greg has brought to this, and that's pretty cool. We did just get a heads up, so now we're logging into the live scoring. That some strikes are unfolding down on the low end. Like, oh, this is my surprise face, Jason Thomas. Amleto Monacelli has the front seven.
Yeah, not well. It was interesting because I was looking at live scoring as well, and I saw Glenn Smith has possible 268, and I thought, well, maybe he's going to pass Amleto.
Well, he did yesterday.
Right, or stay ahead of him.
He did yesterday, and then we got a surprise final score from Hugh Miller, who he quietly shot a big number and left the building. And then all of a sudden, Glenn Smith was not the leader on that final squad.
And it looks like we will more than likely have a lead change as Hugh Miller struggling a little bit out of the gate, 116 through the seventh, and still go off the sheet for 206, but on a 176 pace currently. Kurt Matlock with possible 246 in game one, so good start for him so far. Kevin Foley, who we saw win the roll-off last night, off to a little bit of a slow start, 174 pace through seven. And
Butch Warren with the front seven now as well.
Well, we talked a little bit yesterday about Amleto, maybe the fresh being his what he'll need to figure out, and apparently he's got it figured out.
He got it. We also, it's very important to note that this is the best of the field. So 40 of the best, pretty good mix of lefties and righties, but the strategy today certainly going to be a little bit different. The traffic pattern, the way the lanes break down, you take away some of those guys from the lower in the standings who maybe were searching a little bit throughout the day, and that, of course, every shot you throw affects the oil and how it moves around, and now you have the guys that figured it out the best. So I would expect scores to go up a little bit and more strikes to be thrown, and so far they're not disappointing.
All right, we mentioned Amleto with a big string of strikes.
That's what I was doing. First time I threw that ball. Pretty close now.
Just have I lay here. That was a fiasco yesterday.
Stuck in Denver.
So we did it Denver. I'm in Denver. We go to the gate, it says on my thing. And we go to Texas. I looked up on the board. That's where I got my ticket. was this time it wasn't for him to come out here. Yeah, 'cause he runs like an MSC.